because it wasn't the yogurt that I was concerned about. It was the fact that I had lost control. And if I had lost control once, it could happen again at any moment.
Right.
And that filled me with terror, because if I called it being abducted. It felt like an abduction. I had no presence of mind whatsoever. It was just this bizarre thing that I had no control over. And what if it wasn't yogurt? What if it was potato chips or, you know, candy or something that could really do some damage? And that's what made me more afraid than anything.
Tell me about the voice in your head, because I recognized the voice.
Yeah, I think most people do.
Yeah.
I think, you know, I had this voice in my head. I called him the drill sergeant because he just never let me rest. He never let me say that's enough, or you've done a good job, or you've done enough today. He would always just reprimand me for being lazy, for being fat, for being ugly, for not being worthy, for not deserving what I had.
And when he stopped, it made you feel worse.
Yeah. Because, I mean, it made me feel worse because I felt hopeless. I felt like I really got to a point where instead of hearing it and fighting him, I accepted it. And I thought, I am fat. I am ugly. I don't deserve it.
What was the turning point for you? Was it the fainting on the set? You weighed, what, 70 pounds, 80 pounds?
No, 82.
82, well, sorry,
And actually, at the time I did this movie called Cletus Tout, which was a great little movie. Didn't do very well.
I got a lot of those.
It's crazy. The ones that you think are going to work just don't work.
Like, oh, and then nobody goes to see it.
Yeah, I know. And this was that movie for me. It was, you know, Richard Dreyfuss and Tim Allen, and it was a big cast, and I was the leading lady. And I'd actually gained a little weight for that movie because my veins protruded so badly that I had to ice them down in between takes. So I knew that I had to gain some weight, and I knew that I looked bad, but also my face was incredibly bloated, and my stomach was kind of distended as well. Like I just looked really sick. I collapsed on the set of that movie. I just kind of blacked out very gently in the makeup chair at the end of the day, and just gently. Didn't create a scene. But I was in agony. I mean, I was just in agony. My joints, all of my joints were just killing me. And when I blacked out, I kind of gave over all the control because the medic was there, people were attending to me, and then I had to follow through. I got the blood tests, and then I found out that I was extremely sick.
Explain what that means by extremely sick.
I was diagnosed with lupus. I was diagnosed as being osteoporotic at age 25. I was one tiny step below cirrhosis of the liver. My organs were really looking like any one of them could fail at any time. I mean, my electrolyte balance, like everything was truly terrible. I mean, I hadn't had my period for, you know, years, and I was extremely sick, and I was in so much pain that I just felt like I couldn't continue. I couldn't.
Tell me about your brother. What did he see?
Well, my brother and I were really close when I first started out in McBeal, and we actually lived together when our spouses ran off with each other. It just sounds like such a crazy story. Like, is this really my life?
It is the best.
Oh, it's crazy. And so we just kind of became best friends at that point. And then I got an apartment. He went his own way, and I just isolated myself completely from him because I knew that he would see something, and I just couldn't really explain it away. from him. And so when we got to Australia, I asked him to drive me to the gym, where he stayed in the gym.
And watched?
Yeah.
How long do you think you did in the gym that day?
I don't know. How long, brother? A long time. Yeah. I was there for a long time, and I had, at that point, I'd just kind of given up hiding it. Yeah. So I got down to my little gym shorts and my tank, and he couldn't believe what he saw. Yeah. And he broke down, and he told me I was going to die.
Did that click something in your head?
It just, I was so confused. I thought that I was being healthy. I thought I was doing the right thing. I mean, I was obsessed with not failing a diet. That's all I cared about. I mean, I've lived my life failing diet after diet after diet. And I just felt like I had no self-control, no willpower. And I was just sick of it. I was so sick of it that this was the one diet that I wasn't going to screw up. So when he said to me, "You're going to die," I just thought, but I'm just on a diet. Like, I'm just doing what all women are expected to do, pretty much. We're all expected to be kind of underweight and, you know, look like those really young models that have barely even grown up enough to develop curves.
Right.
You know, and I just thought I was doing the right thing. So when I heard that, it kind of punctured something. And I didn't gain weight immediately, but it confused me.
Right. So what was the moment that you said, you know what, I have to change this because I am going to die?
I think it was definitely hearing the results from the doctor, but it was also my body. I mean, it was falling apart. Like, I just felt so bad all the time. I didn't have energy to work out anymore.
Right.
And I think that that's when I knew that I had to get my shit together.
Had you heard of Karen Carpenter?
Yeah. In fact, I was obsessed with Sonic Youth growing up, and there's a song called "Song for Karen" on a CD called Goo, that was my soundtrack.
Yeah.
It was my soundtrack. And I didn't really realize it at the time, but I kind of secretly admired anorexia. I think people who had anorexia, because I thought to have that much self-control, to kind of deny your basic instinct to eat, and to have the willpower. And I think that I kind of thought that I could never have it, because people like Princess Diana had it. Like, not someone like me, you know, not... So I just didn't think that I was even capable of it, which is the strangest, sickest, most twisted thing to think. But I don't know. I mean, everybody admires people that diet successfully, and that was just the most extreme version of it. But I didn't really see it for what it is.
Right. So now this book is brutal. I mean, it's brutally honest.
Yeah.
Why now?
Because I'm in a really amazing place in my life, and I think ever since Ellen and I got together, I've become more honest and more open, and less afraid, less guarded. And there was always this chunk in my life that I felt very ashamed of. I didn't want to talk about. And so the only thing to do is to go back in it and really look at it. And also because I want to show people that you can be fully recovered from an eating disorder, not just kind of deal with it for the rest of your life, not just